Hey guys, so first take, this is a rough take obviously of just keeping it real. Now before we get into today's topic of what most people are referring to as virtue signaling, wearing a mask, just going along to get along, XYZ, and by all accounts I can completely understand, because most people don't want to make ripples, right? They're afraid that if they exercise their opinion, they're going to get called names, they're going to be, a social outcast or things along that line. So while our page may not be open for people to post, open forum style on there, because this is what my co-host is on the road right now, trucking. Max Moore, he's going to be with us next week, but. Anyway, at some point, you're probably going to get offended by what's said on this show. There's going to be lots and lots of different opinions, lots and lots of different rabbit holes. I'm not going to sit here and try to have only people on here that 100% agree with things that I say or my co-host says, or if we ever have any guests on here, which we will. Just wanted to get a broad spectrum of people, so to speak. But again, so today's topic is virtue signaling, right? So we've got this mindset going on right now of it's okay to be completely told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to be, what to wear, where you're allowed to go, how far away you got to stand from somebody. Over nothing. I mean, even the CDC's has its most redacted numbers. I was doing the research on this a minute ago. As of right now, I just got off the computer looking at this, and I've got, this is according to CDC's website, right there, that little link. You can go do the math yourself if you like. I had to, because it's not in layman's terms. They make sure that it's difficult to read and understand so that, normal people get on there and they're like, oh, well, we're not being lied to that bad. No, you are being lied to drastically. As of right now, there's only been, as of 5 minutes ago, 6,671 deaths as a direct result of COVID only. Out of the, crap, I should have wrote that number down. It was like right around 170,000 total deaths that have had comorbidities, people that had influenza and pneumonia and things along with those, or just poor health in general, health problems, things of that nature. And that same link, if you do the math and you add the age brackets up, right now, even if you take away the fact that the CDC's and the WHO, for that matter, have already admitted that not even a tenth, actually, it's getting closer to less than a 20th of the deaths were actually as a result of COVID alone. If you actually add the numbers up and just take it at face value as 170,000, or it's somewhere in there, it's 170,000 and some change on that website. 80% of those deaths were people over the age of 65. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, because that would be outrageous, that screw old people. No, that's absolutely atrocious. Old people should be, our elders should be cherished, loved, and taken care of. With that said, the funniest part about this is, like, I'll go to Kroger or Walmart or something along those lines, and it actually absolutely cracks me up, because I'll see people that are my age acting scared to death, and 70-year-old mama and papa that couldn't give a crap less wearing coveralls and nothing else. Like, they don't care, because they're old enough to realize that they've lived full lives, and at this point they're going to do what they want to do, and honestly, they should be allowed to. It's their choice. It's their life. Just like it's your choice, your life. Nobody should be able to, within reason, tell you what to do. Now, obviously, we're not talking about detracting from a morally sophisticated society, right? And what I mean by that is, in layman's terms, we don't approve stealing from each other. We don't approve murdering each other. We don't approve, of basic fundamentals that make a society morally sound, right? We don't break into each other's houses without knowing that there's consequences. We don't sleep with another dude's wife without knowing that there's gonna be consequences. Just basic fundamentals that allow for a morally sound society. We don't rape kids, XYZ. You get what I'm saying? And I think we can all agree that those are logically sound arguments, right? So let's just take this from the top as far as mask wearing is concerned, which is one of the reasons I'm going to the protest on September 17th, when the Kentucky Supreme Court is going to be addressing Governor Beshear's And it's 9 a.m. I highly recommend that you're there too. All right, according to Webster's Medical Encyclopedia, bacteria are giants when compared to viruses, right? The smallest bacteria are around zero point 0.4 micron, 1/1,000,000th of a meter in diameter, while viruses range in size from 0.02 to 0.25 microns. This makes most viruses submicroscopic. So to put this into perspective for you, if I were to take a bacteria and put it up next to a virus, like one molecule, right? It's going to look like the Earth sitting next to Jupiter, substantially larger. Now, when you extrapolate that to, okay, let's talk about the types of masks that we're wearing. Let's verbalize the basic, the blue surgical mask that's been very popular. All right, once that cotton is wet from moisture in your mouth, it's a breeding ground for bacteria. All right. Further than that, where do we use those masks at? In reality, I'm not talking about the common sense stuff that people should already know. Like, for example, the box clearly states does not help with the spread of COVID-19. Straight up says it on the box for those blue masks. Anyway, where do we wear those at? We wear those in a sterile environment. Now, for a brief time before I got out of the military, I was one of the infection control petty officers at Naval Hospital 29 Palms, and I had to learn some various things, take a couple courses, and then I was responsible for my department's cleanliness and stuff like that. But the reality is those blue surgical masks, for the most part, are used in a sterile environment. Or they're to help with droplet contact precaution, right? So when we cough, we have sputum, XYZ, it tries to catch some of it. When you wear it for all day, or like in some people's cases because they have no access to getting a new one, I've seen people whose masks are literally got holes in them from wearing them day after day after day. And I've had some of those exact same people tell me, man, I've got the worst respiratory infection of my... Of course you do. That is not what these were designed for. It's just not. Matter of fact, they don't even do that good a job in a sterile environment. When people are on the table undergoing surgery, a lot of times, especially if it's a major surgery where we have to open them up or something along those lines, patients are almost immediately after surgery put on prophylactic antibiotics. Well, if the masks are so great and they're even awesomer in a sterile environment, why would we have to put somebody on antibiotics? Well, because we know that they're not effective. Not 100%. Not even when they're cycled appropriately, not even when they're used in a sterile environment. Now, when you take that, because we've been talking about bacteria this whole time, when you take that and extrapolate that to the context of a virus, how much more virus particles do you really think can get through a used mask that's been being used for hours and hours, if not days and days on end? These are common sense things. Like you guys can go do your own research if you want to. It took me 10 minutes to look this stuff up. It's not that difficult. But we used to joke around and say, well, people didn't have access to information, and that was why they were dumb. Tell me that's the same thing now. We've all got Google at our fingertips, right? So if you're dumb or you're arguing a fallacious point, you have no one to blame but yourself, right? So it's the mask thing is a system, in my personal opinion now, the mask thing is a complete system of control. We've got our idiot governor now verbatim saying, if you want your kids to go back to in-school sessions, you better start wearing your masks at home. Why? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. Or you've got to wear a mask to walk in, sit down, order your food, and then as soon as you sit down, you can take it off. Like nobody's going to get up to go pee. Like, people aren't leaning off to the side to clear their throats, stuff like that. Like it's absolutely asinine. And then the WHO recently, it was about 2.5 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, I can't remember. But, and I found the article for that too. You guys are welcome to go look that up. Completely recanted everybody needs to wear masks because asymptomatic carriers, people who don't know that they're sick, spread it. They actually said that was rare, if ever. So, now that we're getting some broad strokes, right? We have quantifiable data that's been being extrapolated on now for the last 6-7 months, and we're getting told the truth more because people are getting fed up. It's amazing how much the stuff that, people knew from the jump street is coming out to be true. The same people that were being chastised by mainstream media are now right. They were the subject matter experts, not CNN, MSNBC, whatever other waste of time you watch on TV. You're much more likely to get real news from a small news source. Anyway, FDA.gov/medical, /medical devices. The CDC that recommends that members of the public use simple face coverings in public to spread the slow of the virus. This will help people who have the virus keep from transmitting it to others. So right there, that was just last month, August of 2020. So we've now admitted from the CDC that the only people who really need to be wearing these masks are people that are symptomatic. It's black and white. Go look it up. And that was their article for recommendations regarding the use of cloth face coverings, especially in areas of significant community-based transmission. So even in a significant in an environment where areas of significant community-based transmission, basically if you're symptomatic, you should wear a mask. To that, I completely agree. Because, like with history, this is the only time we have ever quarantined healthy people. You can look back at any civilization you want to. Quarantine was always used for the sick, not for healthy people. This is, again, a system of control. You are being lied to and manipulated. The average U.S. life expectancy per Google.com, 78.54 years. That means that roughly about 68% of all the people that have died, even with comorbidities, as a result of COVID-19 with comorbidities, were over the average life expectancy anyway. Now, here's where we're going to probably part ways, but I'll explain my thought process, right? People who are of that age have lived full lives. They have had the ability to make choices. They have had the luxury to, strike first, strike fast, to be able to push through their lives and hopefully have a modicum of success and happiness, which we all should be privy and allowed to do. That's what this nation was based on, the pursuit of happiness, not the guarantee of happiness, but the pursuit of happiness, right? Those individuals have already done that. And I guarantee you, if you could raise my grandfather from the dead, sit him next to me right now and ask him, Papa, would you rather watch tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, even possibly millions of people go bankrupt, lose everything they have, watch their children struggle with depression? Here's another one for you. I'm going to add to this. The National Suicide Hotline Awareness Line. Since the onset of COVID, it has had a 604% increase in calls. Just substantiated spousal abuse, up 31%. That's not reported, that's just substantiated. Substantiated child abuse, 27% up since the onset of COVID. Let's see, what was the other one? Crap, hold on, let me read this. Hold on. I'll find it in a minute. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes here. But, so when we sit here and we're like saying things like, well, whose lives matter more? And I know that's not the Christian thing to think, because all lives have value. I believe all lives have value to an extent. I don't believe that if you're a career-long dirtbag that you have more or equal value to somebody like me or my children or my wife. I'm sorry, you don't. We inherently assign value to people, and unfortunately, whether we like to believe it or not, that's a fact. Like, you're not gonna get up here and tell me all lives matter, because the truth is that they really don't. They might matter to you, but they really don't. I'll give you a perfect example. I've asked everybody this, and nobody, not one single person, has been able to tell me, yes, since the onset of COVID, or I'll even give you your whole life. When was the last time you went to a funeral? You just opened up the obituary section of the newspaper and picked out somebody that you had no connection with whatsoever, went to their funeral and sat and cried in solidarity and with their families and gave them time? I got money says that there's the percentage of people that have done something like that is so minuscule it wouldn't even register. So then we really don't care about all lives. We don't, and it's not a flaw on you. It's not a flaw on me. It's just the truth. If you're not in somebody's network, somebody's not in your network, you don't really care about them. Like, you don't wake up every Sunday, go read the obituary, and cry yourself to sleep because yet another however many people in your city passed away. It's sad for those families, and when I know my friends have people that pass away, like, I might not feel anything for their family member because I've probably never met them, but I can stand in solidarity with my friend. But to say that that person had an inherent value to me is not true. So it's just not. So where do we draw the line? I remember what the other one was. I don't have the website to give you for this one because it's been a few weeks since I saw this. But the other one that I looked up was there was an estimated 1.4 million children in the United States that haven't had 3 square meals a day since the onset of COVID-19. And I would bet that if they could get like people to run what's the word I'm looking for, like stats or surveys in less affluent neighborhoods, I bet it's double, if not even triple that number. But let's just be real. You're not going to go into a rough neighborhood and be like, hey, so have you been feeding your child here lately? It's not going to work that way. But I'll leave you with this. Some of this might have offended you, some of this might not have, some of this you might agree with, some of this you don't agree with, but I think what we can all agree with is that this was supposed to be the greatest country in the world. And I still believe that it's the greatest country in the world. That's why I live here. I'd like to think that's why you live here too. And at no point in time am I ever going to say that it's okay for something going on with my family to have any effect on the way you live your life. Somebody already made the comment to me, well, what if your son, what if one of your daughters gets COVID-19? That would suck. And if they had a bad outcome from it, that would suck really bad. Like, I wouldn't even know what to do with myself if one of my children were extremely hospitalized or something as a result of this virus, which is not going to happen. But, if it did, I'd be devastated. But under no circumstance would I sit here and say, because of my loss or my struggle, does that give me any right to tell you what to do with your face? And let's just be real. We've only covered blue surgical masks. Y'all really think doing this is doing jack shit? Putting a neck gaiter around your face, getting a bandana that I use to catch sweat around my forehead when I'm working out hard and looking like a raccoon, a little bandit running around, is really saving anybody's life? You can't honestly believe that and have an ounce of common sense. It's not real. Like, the evidence is there. It's at your fingertips. Open your phone, open your eyes. Stop believing everything you see on mainstream media. Definitely not the bullshit we're getting on Facebook, because it's all garbage. You are only seeing what they want you to see so that we get the outcome that they want to get. Because the reality is at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the division of blacks and whites, rich and poor, and anything in between, cops and bad neighborhoods, kids and pedophiles. What you're failing to understand is the people on Wall Street, your elitists, control our politicians through money, right? They get all this money, and look at the net worth of a politician when they get out of office, should they ever even decide to leave. It's absolutely astronomical, right? So you're talking about the people who show you everything on TV, everything on Facebook, everything on Instagram, are in cahoots with the idiots that are running this country. I should say idiots and cowards that are running this country into the ground, I might add. And as a whole, I am not left wing or right wing. I think both wings belong to the same damn bird, right? They're equally worthless. They don't give a rat's ass about you. They don't give a rat's ass about me, your kids, anybody. They're just going to give you sound bites so that you cast your vote in November. My only recommendation to you is, outside of our topic of discussion tonight, if you're going to vote, pick this up and do your freaking research before you vote, right? Call their office. Ask them what they think. Get a rep on the phone and be like, hey, I want to know what your candidate's opinion is on this matter right here, because that's what matters to me. If you don't do that and you go, well, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to just go straight ticket, You, in essence, are a part of the problem and you're ignorant. Have a good one, y'all. Keeping it real.